The courtroom was tense, every sound echoing against the wooden walls. People leaned forward in their seats, waiting for the next moment to unfold. At the center of it all sat Daniel Hayes, a decorated ex-soldier whose life had spiraled after returning from war. His once proud shoulders were now weighed down by chains, his uniform replaced with a prison jumpsuit. Yet his eyes still carried the quiet fire of a man who had once stood fearless on the battlefield. Today was different, though. He wasn't fighting for his freedom. He had already lost that. He was fighting for a final request, to say goodbye. To his German shepherd, Ranger, the loyal K9 who had served beside him through dust, fire and blood overseas. Ranger wasn't just a dog, he was family. The judge had hesitated when Daniel's lawyer made the unusual request. Dogs weren't allowed in courtrooms, but word had spread about the soldier and his companion, and after much debate, the judge allowed it, just this once. And so the heavy doors creaked open, and in walked Ranger, his coat still shining, his eyes locked on Daniel the moment he entered. Gasps spread across the room as the dog pulled free from the handler and rushed straight toward his master. Daniel dropped to his knees, shackles clinking, arms trembling as Ranger leapt into him, whining, pawing and pressing his head against the man who had once commanded him in war. For a moment, time froze. The courtroom, so used to silence and order, was filled only with the sound of a soldier and his dog clinging to one another. Tears fell from the eyes of strangers, even from the stern bailiff standing guard. Daniel whispered into Ranger's ear, words no one else could hear, his face buried in the dog's fur. It should have ended there. A farewell, nothing more. But then something extraordinary happened. Ranger turned from Daniel and barked, sharp, commanding, filled with urgency. His gaze fixed on one of the witnesses, a man who had testified against Daniel. The bark didn't stop. The dog growled, his instincts flaring. Murmurs erupted through the room as suspicion turned to shock. The very German shepherd trained to sniff out danger had just called out the truth. The courtroom that expected a goodbye was suddenly staring at a revelation no one could ignore.